spera, we never stop.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing very well today, or this evening I should say. This is Tommy's Celtic Talk, and today we're going to be talking about the depth in Celtic squad that we should be addressing. Now, not many people can poke a hole in what Ange has been doing since he's came in, and I'm not going to try and do that today. But if you look at the squad we have, we'll start with strikers Kyogo Ajeti, and Johnny Kenny, who is on loan at is it Shamrock Rovers, I believe, Shamrock Rovers, and they, the two that we're looking at there straight away. Johnny Kenny, I would love to see him break into the Celtic team. I'm Irish myself. I would love to see an Irishman break through at Celtic. The last high-profile Irishman we've had in here was Shane Duffy. We all know how that went. Not ideal, but I don't think anybody had a good season in the COVID no-fan season. So I think we can cut Shane Duffy a bit of slack there, but Johnny Kenny, what is he, 18, 19 now? It doesn't go well for Irish players for some reason. They don't seem to hit the grade, they don't get the rub of the green with Celtic. Maybe it's just the wrong place at the wrong time, too many quality players in the position that they play in, but I hope he proves me wrong. Maybe a loan move to a Scottish team after this. Him getting loaned out to the Irish League doesn't tell much me. I'm not saying Scottish football is the best on the planet, but I would definitely say it's a higher standard than the Irish League. Jetty, he's done well on loan. Apparently, for a team he was loaned out on, he was scoring a few goals. Definitely at the start, I was keeping an eye on how he was getting on. Ajeti, one where I think if that team comes out with any sort of an offer, I think take it. I think even if he is on form, he doesn't suit Ange's style. Ange likes a fast, hard-working player. He's neither fast nor hard-working, Ajeti. And I believe it was either 5 or 6 million Lenny paid for him in the COVID season. I think, if you can scavenge some of that back, just put your hands up at that one. We move on to wingers, or we have on the left wing we have Maeda, Jota, and Haksabanovic. Is what I have written. I know Mikey Johnson, he can play on the right or left. He's mainly left. He's out on loan. Maeda, Jota, all good. Haksabanovic, maybe a loan, or we could fit him in for game time. I think he's okay for now. But Mikey Johnson, he's a strange player. So he is. When he broke in to the scene, he looked like he was going to be the next big thing. He got thrown in a few Old Firm games, very premature, a lot of people thought, and they thought that maybe just give him a bit of time with the lower league games, maybe your Dundees, give him a bit of confidence, but he was always put under a bit of pressure, Mikey Johnson, and I assume I'm not the only Celtic fan out there that thought maybe this loan move would have done him the world of good. Well, it's turned out it's had good moments and bad moments. Apparently he's getting on well with the coaching staff over there. He's getting on well with the players. He's apparently high ranking up there from what I've read in the dribbling stats in the main league, but not for assists nor goals, which it sort of tells the story of Mikey Johnson. He loves the dribble, he loves to run up the pitch, he doesn't love to score. Well, I'm sure he would like to score, but he can't. and he can't assist either because he's too busy trying to take on a player and then turn around and take him on again. So I think he reminds me a bit of like a Mackay Stevens. You know, he can do a bit of dribbling, you know, here, there and everywhere, but if there's no end product, he's no Jimmy Johnson, is he? Moving on, we have Jamesy Forrest. Now, I'm not sure what to do with him. He's a legend of the club. In my eyes, he's won a lot of trophies. He's right up there with Scott Brown in terms of trophies appearances. He got his over 100 goals, over 100 assists. So he is definitely right up there with the top players of the club, and it definitely has his folklore and history for the club. But is his time up? For a player that relies on speed, getting past this man, the legs are definitely not what they were maybe 4 years ago. He's a player you wouldn't get much money on, but he's definitely fallen down the ranks in the squad. And as I addressed in my last video, I think that Old Firm game would tell Ange that was a high indication of he shouldn't be playing big profile games for us, such as Old Firm, Europe. If he must play, it must be lower end league games, not even the Hearts. I would say Kilmarnock's, Livingston, not even Livingston. See, that's the problem that we'll have with James Forrest there. He's like the Scott Brown status, where you love him, you want them to do well, but it's like, is he holding the team back now? Especially with Ange, who wants to be bringing the team right up in the next destination. So I would put him as an out, Jamesy. In terms of right winners, we have Abada then. Yeah, we're all good. We're all good there, other than Jamesy, unfortunately. And defensive mids, obvious candidates. James McCarthy. I don't have a clue why he signed. It was either a 3 or 4 year contract. I think it was 4. I think whoever signed that or made up that contract should be shot. I think it was a panic buy, him and Joe Hart. And Joe Hart worked out a lot better, obviously, but James McCarthy was one of them panic. He played in the English league, so he must be good sort of signings. I believe he's not on the highest of wages, but no if buts or maybes. He's not in Celtic's bracket anymore, so he's not. And even when he was at his peak, he's not really our play style either. It's not a very Ange signing. And with us getting Awada, that tells me that that was the type of player he would want in that position for backup to McGregor, not McCarthy. So McCarthy's got to go. Itaguchi got loaned out back to Japan. I can't see him surviving when he gets back. He would have to play a blinder in Japan. I'm sure Ange would be keeping tabs on that, but unfortunate with injuries, unfortunate with a lot of things since his Celtic arrival. But again, midfield's very strong for us. You know, we've got O'Reilly, Hatate, Turnbull, McGregor, Moy. You know, it's a very strong position for us, so you got to be at top of your game to even get rookie minutes. So at a good shape, we want him gone. And Sorrow is still at the team. Believe it or not, he's loaned out. And for a player that's in the COVID season, they were all ranting and raving about him, weren't they? It was him and Turnbull were the saviours for Celtic. You know, it was the Scott Brown time where everybody said his legs were gone and they wanted to be given dogs abuse for every last one of the Celtic players and the Celtic management team. Rightfully so in a lot of accounts, and maybe a bit over the top in others. But Sorrow, for me, had a good season at season. It was a bit like Turnbull. It was the two best of a bad crop, and he's been found out when the team's actually playing well. Sorrow's problem is he wants to get stuck into every tackle, but he picks up yellows and reds every time he plays. He just doesn't know the professional way to go about it. It's more of an amateur league player. So he's got all the energy. Probably a bit of training, a bit of coaching could do something for him. But if he doesn't come back much improved after this loan spell, I would send him out the door. Now we've got Ralston Johnson right back. That's all good. Taylor, Burnaby, Montgomery at left back. Now Taylor's all set 100%. He's been the replacement without us all knowing under our noses for Kieran Tierney all along. He's been a revelation since he's came in. I don't think there'd be much people that would argue that now, but back when he first signed, obviously it doesn't matter who you were when you got signed in at that stage. Nobody was happy to see Tierney go, and it doesn't matter who you were not in the same bracket as Tierney. But for the job that Taylor would have to do, he's done a superb job. Burnaby, I think he's going to go. I wouldn't say I would want him to go, but I think Ange will get rid of him. He doesn't trust him. He played Juranovic out of position in the latest Old Firm game, rather than playing a fit Burnaby when Taylor got injured. And there was a few games there where he was doing it again. Burnaby's appearances have been very limited, and I think that is basis to maybe what Ange is seeing in training. He was a bit of a hothead, Burnaby, when he first signed for Celtic. There was a whole drink driving thing. Maybe he's a bit of a rascal in training, who knows, but for me, he seems like one of Ange's, Ange will know he doesn't like to be crossed. He's very straightforward, so if Ange takes a disliking to you, I don't think it's very long until you're out the door. And it'd be a shame, because he's got a lot of acceleration, he's got a burst of speed, he's got a good cross on his day. A bit lackadaisy with the short passing, quick passing, but that should have, you would have thought, been trained out of his game. But that one is a definite maybe. Now, he could definitely prove me wrong on that one. Montgomery is out on loan at the minute. He's been doing well, but I could see him getting back in as a backup for Taylor. He always seemed to get on very well with Ange, and Ange gave him a bit of a big break when he first came into the management. So I could see him definitely taking his place. We move on to goalkeepers. Now this is a position where I was astounded. We've got a lot in contention here. We've got two players coming back from loan. Well, I think one's came back. With Joe Hart, who's the main keeper, he's been, I think, hit and miss. I think he gets a lot of praise, but I think it was because of how bad everybody else was. I think Joe Hart, he's a bit of a loose cannon at times. Does a lot of questionable things during the game, and there's a lot of times where you think he could get there, he didn't. But he's definitely the best of the bunch at the minute. So as of now, he's as good as it gets. Barkas, he's out on loan, meant to have been doing very well. I don't bet. What I've seen and what all of you have seen is he's dreadful. I mean, that West Ham game alone in the friendlies, that was when Ange was the manager. That is all I would need to see to make my decision on him. And I don't care what this loanee manager has told me about him. I would take it to the bank that Barkas, he's done. He's done. Get rid of him. Take whatever money you can get for him and run. Scott Bain, another one, he signed a contract there, so Ange must want him maybe as a third choice. I know he signed in Seacrest after that. So that would make me think that he's going to be staying as a third choice. So that would also make me think that Conor Hazard, the Scottish Cup hero of the COVID times, he's also going to be out the door. I don't know if we're going to make much profit off that. He did very well for Helsinki when he was out on loan. But if Ange just gave Scott Bain a contract, it would have been between them two, wouldn't it, for the third spot. So yeah, Hazard is probably the one to go there. Finally, we get the centre backs, Carlton Vickers, who best in the league, and I'd say even Rangers fans' opinion at this point. Starfelt, interesting fact about Carlton Vickers and Starfelt, 44 games they've played together, 38 clean sheets. Oh no, what is it? 44 games they've played together, 38 undefeated. I think it was like 24, 25 clean sheets. Something like that. I've seen on Facebook the stat. I'll definitely find out later for you, but that tells me they are undefeated together in that amount of games domestically. So the stick that Starfelt gets, it's unjustified on some points. Now I would agree in the big games, like he's lackadaisy sometimes. He might give a penalty away. If he could sturdy himself up, he is definitely the second best defender at the squad, and he does play well with Carlton Vickers. So there's not much he can do there, and he seems to be very high up in the Ange book as well. If he's fit, he does play. Now we have Welsh, Kobayashi. Kobayashi definitely third choice for me. Welsh, he's one of our own, but definitely behind Kobayashi. I would sell Welsh and Scales when he gets back. I think they're good players, but Kobayashi's the step in the right direction. I think if there is going to be somebody that plays the likes of Starfelt, it isn't going to be them two. Spend the Champions League money, get somebody in that could do a job alongside the likes of Carlton Vickers, maybe a bit better than Starfelt, and leave it at that. Leave it as a back four. You have your youth there as a extreme circumstance. Now we have sold 3 already. Was a Juranovic, what was it, 10 million to Union Berlin. Giakoumakis away as well. Now he was under a bit of scrutiny with the manager. We're wondering, we all loved him. He was banging in goals under very limited time of play, but he was apparently on Instagram. He was doing like the time emoji, if you're with me, him standing there on the sidelines alongside Ange. But the premise of the uploaded image and the story on his profile was, get me playing or else I'm leaving. Your time's running out, Ange. And Ange isn't a man that likes to be talked to that way. Or, well, not talked to that way, sent it via social media. So Ange essentially says to the board that he's not happy with us, and he cut ties with him, and he was out of the squad ever since. He even had the pop Ange of saying, like, when Giakoumakis finds out about this, he'll find out at the same time as the fans via an Instagram post on the Celtic Instagram account. So it was a bit of handbags, but he's definitely showing Ange that he doesn't have this responsibility for players' well-being. He's not interested. He's interested in winning games. He doesn't like this childishness of going online to come out with you felt hard done by after a game. He was playing Kyogo. He's obviously doing better in training. He's scoring goals. If you don't like that, he gets a no. That's how he dealt with it. So it's unlike the Lenny season. Lenny did say at the start of the season that the players didn't want away, and the board sort of hung on to them players for the big 10 in a row season. Your Adgers, your Edwards, Christie, them types of players for that season. We had Elyounoussi and Owen. We wanted to keep hold of as much of the big names as we could to have a shot at 10 in a row, but the players wanted to go. They weren't happy. Lenny did say that. Maybe the board overruled them. Who knows what happens behind the scenes? But that's what happened there. But Ange has definitely got more of a a front foot in with the board, and he's saying if a player is not happy, if he's upsetting the players in training, if he's coming out trying to be a bit of a rebel, he's not going to have any time for it. We've seen it with Ronaldo, over in England, with the whole Piers Morgan thing. He doesn't have time for them types of players. So that's a proper manager for me. That's proper, like Brian Clough stuff. If you go back to the 70s and 80s, when managers, they didn't take no shit off players. You know what I mean? That is proper management in my eyes. So that would lay down a law to the other Celtic players saying he doesn't have the time for this. Giakoumakis was a big player. He's gone. We've replaced him. Juranovic, he didn't leave in the same circumstances, but he was a big player. We had him replaced before he even left. It was the same thing there. But that's what I've covered today. We have our ins already. That's who I believe will be out. We hope Ange will go the same with them, but if he doesn't, Ange doesn't really get it wrong, does he? So, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, hail, hail.